cover everything that I can. And then I might just let them go. All hits. That's all we're looking for. Okay. G45 by Glock. 10,000 round review. This is a 19. I'm a fucking idiot. Glock. G45 review. 10,000 rounds. So I put 10,000 rounds through my G45 in a span of a few months. I never had a jam, and I know that sounds crazy and it sounds like bullshit, but it's real. Never had a jam. Now I had a couple of times where I put the wrong mag in it and I had a single fire. I mean, there was, you know, the typical screw up stuff at the range that I did, especially when you're carrying multiple Glocks. Consistent, accurate. When I first got this thing, I was a little pissed off because I couldn't hit the way that I normally hit when I was shooting it. And it just ended up being my sight alignment. I needed to definitely make sure that my front sight was perfectly even with the back sights. And once I did that, I was capable of putting shots in the exact same hole, let alone being on target. As I progressed and put more rounds through it, I obviously became more proficient with the weapon itself. It has a really good little reset on it. So it's nice and audible. So easy. So you can double tap with this sucker all day long. I know that I have. Not to brag. So G45 has the serrated front part of the slide. It has the mag well. It's all G5 parts inside. It has the performance trigger that comes standard on it. I don't exactly know what makes it any difference. It is a very good trigger, has a really good feel. I know you can upgrade all kinds of stuff on this. My point being for this review is you don't have to. You don't have to upgrade anything to have yourself a tack driver. This gun will consistently put hits on target without any type of modification, just lots of range time and practice. So if you want to go out to the range and you want to impress somebody and you want to make your buddies feel like shit while you're punching holes in targets, get yourself a G45. This thing feels great in the hand. I've never gotten any slide bite. Not saying you won't, but I mean, I hold it up high and it never has bitten me yet. Consistently with double taps, I can hit the same hole out to 25 yards with it. And I'll put a little video up that shows that. Most of the shooting I do with it's at, 20 yards. Steel, just because I like the response that steel gives me. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Carrying this thing concealed, kind of a pain in the ass, just because the handle, with comfort also comes, you profiling your weapon a little bit. So because the handle is longer, when you're carrying this thing, it obviously shows a little bit. So you get a little bit of a profile from it. Especially if you're appendix carrying. But, because of the location, most people don't ask you. If you don't want to buy a bunch of holsters and you already have a 19, the good news is the 45 fits in the exact same holster as the 19. So, I have one for everything because I'm a goofball, but I do switch back and forth depending on how long I'm going to have the holster on and where I'm going type deal. I just don't, I wish there was more stuff to punch holes in this thing about and just say, oh, it did this, it did that. I know that there's some Glocks out there that are, rattle traps. This one's not. With 10,000 rounds, It's still smooth, it's still tight, it's still incredibly accurate, obviously. It feels good to shoot. It's one of those weapons when you shoot it, it always puts a smile on my face, just because the more accurate something is, the better you feel about it. Especially at the range around other people, it's nice to be shredding some hits while everybody else is, you know, giving advice to each other and trying to find that sweet spot. It's nice to just be there dumping ammo, which, speaking of ammo, I did not shoot one particular ammo. And what I did was, just like any layman would, is I just bought the cheapest ammo I could find, and that's what I shot. And I shot steel casing, I shot brass casing, I shot Russian stuff, American stuff, whatever was, you know, 500 rounds for 150 bucks. That's what I was shooting that day, because I knew I had to get to 10,000 and do the review, and I wasn't gonna go broke trying to do it. Nice thing is though, you know, take your weapon completely apart, disassemble it, clean it, make sure that it's well taken care of, and it's just right back on point. It does get a little holster wear after a while. I like that they kind of made the front a little sloped so that it slides into the holster easier and out. The serrations, you know, if you want to do a press check, it's nice to do a press check like that. I've kind of gotten into doing a forward side press check with this thing. Normally I just do it from the rear, but this one's nice, and these things do actually have a function. It doesn't get slippery. It does have kind of a half-ass stipple job on it, and that's the way it comes. You can put different backs on it. Whichever one was on it's what's on it right now. Straight from the box, the only upgrade it had was the Ameriglow sights, which I bought it that way. I didn't have them put it on. You could get it with them or without it, so for the extra money I wanted those, so I got them. And that's it. I just don't have anything bad really to say about it. It shows a little bit when you're carrying it as a everyday carry. It has a little bit more of a profile than, say, a 19 or a 43. But the main point of carrying a gun is to be able to hit something and to put accurate fire on a threat, and that is what this weapon does every single time. If you can get one and you can just put some rounds through it, you'll never go wrong with this weapon platform. It is absolutely the cat's ass. Glock got it right, 100% on this. There's nothing wrong with it. I brag about it all the time. So I don't know what the price point is today on these. When I got this one, it was 730 bucks with the Ameriglow sights on it. And it was one of the first ones to come into my town. So obviously I ran down and bought it. I didn't care what they asked. I wanted it and I got it. And I'm glad I wasn't disappointed, because nobody wants to buy a pistol and then never shoot it because it shoots like shit to them. So I highly recommend it. If you're wanting to see the difference, obviously, between the 19 and the G45, it's just all in the handle. What you can obtain with the 19 with a mag extension is basically the way this one comes out. So I love it, and I highly recommend it. 10,000 rounds. I'll hit you guys up again when we get closer to 100,000 rounds through it, if it makes it. I'm sure it will. At this point, I have no reason to think it wouldn't. But if you want to go get something and you want to get a lot of bang for your buck, the G45, you can't go wrong. I know you can get a 19X in a very similar type weapon with the extended handle. It's going to have all the Gen 5 guts in it. It's going to have the same type of trigger. It will not have the mag well, and it won't have the serrated front slide. And it also has some weird thing right here that prevents you from putting other clips in it, which is kind of a pain in the ass. G45 by Glock. I highly recommend it. 10,000 rounds, no jams. I say again, not one jam. Good job, Glock. Those Austrian boys have their shit together. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll be back with 100,000 review on this thing in a couple of months. Until then, I hope you keep your powder dry. Hope you stay safe. Hope you protect one another. There's bad people out there. Make sure you're a good guy. God bless you. It's retarded. No offense. It should make you train more. That way you don't have a bunch of retards running around. You know what I mean? Double tap. Tip tap. Real quick, before I let you go, I just wanted to show you something. And I don't know why this tickles me so much, but I just love this. And sometimes it doesn't work, but most of the time it does. So hopefully this time on camera it does work. So I have my Glock in the back position. Take my loaded magazine and I slip it in. No big deal, right? But if I take the same magazine and I hammer it, it's ready to go. And to me, when I'm sitting there trying to do multiple things, or if I'm actually in a shooting situation, or if I'm just trying to do a quick reload for maybe a IPSC shoot or whatever, that's kind of cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like. Talking to you right there. Thank you. Appreciate that.